Gerontology is the holistic. So gerontology is the holistic study of aging, and the main purpose of gerontology is to improve the quality of life of older adults. And generally, there are three main aspects which are studied in gerontology. So the social aspects, the psychological aspects, and the physical aspects. So it's quite a vast subject, and there are a lot of subfields also within gerontology. So geriatrics. So Dr. Prem being a geriatrician, so geriatrics comes within gerontology, which looks into the medical aspects and diseases which happen in old age, and treatment and cure for them. So it's a very vast subject, and basically needs of older adults, needs of older adults are taken into consideration, and based on the needs, there are different subfields which are there. So I have done my master's in social gerontology. So there is social gerontology, there is gerotechnology. So what kind of technological devices need to be there for older adults? Then there is geropsychology, which looks into the psychological issues. So today we are going to talk about that. So then there is gerotechnology. Then there is gerodontology. There is financial gerontology. There is educational gerontology. So it's a very vast subject. So the main aim is, how we can, considering that older adults are living longer, how we can improve their quality of life. Okay, so now I will go into the subject, what we are doing today, because it's quite a long presentation and quite a lot of things need to be covered, and we have less time. So today we are going to talk about, what kind of normal changes happen in aging. So what kind of normal psychological changes happen in aging? And there are a lot of myths which are there. एंड द पर्पज इज के ये मिथ्स को हम लोगों को मतलब वी हैव टू रीथिंक अबाउट देम, एंड वी आल्सो हैव टू ट्राई एंड फाइंड द फैक्ट्स. So that is something that I'm going to put forward in front of you. So, what happens in aging, memory, that is one major issue, intelligence. So all these aspects which I have, mentioned on this slide. So cognition, what is cognition? Okay, in terms of thinking, in terms of grasping things, what kind of changes, normal changes take place in aging. Once we know what is normal, then we will be able to differentiate it from what is not normal. फिर दूसरा memory, as I said, attention. Are we able to, sustain our attention for a long period of time on something? Then there is intelligence. What kind of language skills? Does it affect language skills? Does aging affect language skills? Then there is emotional regulation. Okay, so are we able to, regulate our emotions, or, do emotions go, out of hand? So all those things we are going to look into. And we will look into what that aspect is and the practical implications in aging. Okay, so this is cognitive aging. Okay, so what is cognitive aging? Okay, so this is basically how we learn things. Okay, so how we remember things, how we perceive things, how we think about information. Okay, how we actually grasp things is something that, cognitive aging talks about. So something related to thinking, our thinking process. Okay, and what happens to the thinking process in aging? That is what we are trying to find out. So people generally differ in the degree to which their brains decline with age. Okay, so everyone has a different kind of, what can we say, trajectory. So not everyone's, the deterioration will take place in the same way. Okay, so different aspects might be affected. With someone, reasoning might be affected. With someone, the language might be affected. So the way the brain declines, the nature in which the brain declines with age differs from person to person. Okay, there is no one way in which the brain declines. Okay, so little age-related cognitive decline in some functions, but some mental capabilities there are some mental capabilities decline, and we also have to see that there are some mental capabilities which improve with age. And that is something that we do not take into consideration. There are some, mental processes which improve with age. Okay, and that is something that we also have to focus on rather than only focusing on the negative aspects. I always say that, in old age, we generally think about what we cannot do, but the focus has to shift on what we can do. Okay. So if we look at aging in a positive way, then it definitely helps us to deal with issues in aging in a positive manner. Okay, so this is something, the last point is something that we have to take into consideration, which is that whatever cognitive decline takes place, okay, and we will also look into all the aspects in detail, but the cognitive decline, the thinking process which is there, that should not impair a person's ability to perform daily activities. Okay, so you should be able to, even if you might be, some things you might not be able to remember. You might take time to understand and grasp certain things, but that should not impair or hamper your ability to perform your daily activities. You should be independently able to perform whatever you are doing on a daily basis. So that is something that should be kept in mind. And when I go to the next slide, you will also understand it better. Okay, so with thinking, what happens? So what they are saying is, what researchers are telling us is that the processing speed decreases with age in general. So what is processing speed? Okay, so the speed with which I understand or I grasp information. So that is something that decreases with age. And generally what happens is that because we take time to understand things, also because there are so many things in our head, there are so many memories, there are so many experiences which are there, that any new information to go inside takes time. Okay, and that is why they are saying that processing speed decreases with age. But what happens in aging is that because I take time to grasp information, I feel that I am not able to understand things at all. And a person loses confidence and does not want to try doing new things at all, because I take time to understand things. I'll give you a small example. We started, computer classes for seniors. Okay, that was quite long back in Bandra, in Bandra West. And, we taught them, Microsoft Word and email and, Microsoft Excel. And we also taught them PowerPoint. So most of the seniors were interested in PowerPoint. They liked so many features which are there in PowerPoint. And, they studied that in such great detail that at the end, when they were asked to do an assignment, okay, on PowerPoint, the kind of features that they found in PowerPoint were, such kind of features which our teacher also did not know. Okay, so they took time to understand things, but once they understood it, they were able to explore a lot of new things. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that it takes time to learn and understand things, but that is not the same as not being able to learn at all. Okay, the other thing is, seniors or older adults may struggle with complex tasks which require a lot of information processing. Okay, so if a lot of new information is there, say suppose mobiles, okay, mobile apps. Okay, so a lot of new information keeps on coming every day. So, this kind of information processing, what each app does. So that kind of processing, which is very new, which is something which is not familiar, takes time. Okay, so that's what they are saying in the next point, that reasoning with familiar material is stable, But with unfamiliar material, it declines with age. Okay, so if you've done accounts all your life, and maybe if you are learning some new app which is related to accounts, that aspect is familiar to you. So that might be more understandable, that might be quicker for you to grasp than something which is totally unrelated to what you have done all your life. Okay, so familiar material is stable. We are more comfortable with grasping that particular information, but totally new information. And that is why you see that a lot of younger generation are very, comfortable with, mobile phones, because they have been familiar with it from a very young age. Okay, so what we have to try and remember is processing speed. जो स्पीड से हम लोग ग्रास्प करते हैं इंफॉर्मेशन, समझना थोड़ा सा मुश्किल हो जाता है, ऐसा मैं नहीं कहूंगी, बट आई एम सेइंग दैट इट टेक्स टाइम, एंड दैट इज व्हाई पेशेंस इज रिक्वायर्ड इफ वी आर ट्राइंग टू लर्न समथिंग न्यू. देयर इज नो नीड टू गेट frustrated if we take time to learn something new, which is also very important in old age. Second aspect is memory, and there are memory has been divided into different types. Okay, and we look into this, that what improves in old age and what declines. Okay, so the first one is working memory. Okay, so working memory में क्या है कि working memory is your ability to pay attention, your ability to whatever. वर्किंग मेमोरी इज समथिंग के अगर समझो आपको कोई टेम्पररी इंफॉर्मेशन मिलता है, से सपोज यू गेट अ फोन नंबर एंड यू हैव टू फीड इट इन योर मोबाइल. Okay, so whatever information you get, those numbers which you get, that has to be fed in your mobile. So this is the information which you have got right now, and you have to do that. So whatever information is available currently with which I have to work, that is working memory. Whatever I have got right now, temporary information which is there. Second one is semantic long-term memory. Okay, so this is facts which we have gathered over a long period of time. यानी कौन सा capital है, how many rivers are there. So factual information which we know, which is the capital of India, what is the capital of US. So all these factual information which is there. So that's why they call it semantic long-term memory. The third one is episodic memory. So this is related to our memory regarding particular events, details about particular events, our memory related to memory about particular events, whatever incident has happened in our life, memory which is related to that. Next है prospective memory, which means what I am going to do in the future. Next week I am going to go to the bank. Next week I am going to go and meet my family. Okay, so that is prospective, what I am going to do in the future. और last है वो है procedural memory. Okay, so wherever a procedure is involved. Okay, so procedure as in, for making tea, there is a particular procedure. Cycle चलाने के लिए there is a certain procedure. So whatever procedures we have learned over a period of time, what happens to that? So what are the practical implications when it comes to memory? So research says that working memory, whatever temporary information I have got, episodic memory, which is related to a particular incident, and prospective memory, यानी आगे क्या करना है, so that may decline. It may decline, does not decline with each and every person, but that may decline. But this long-term semantic memory which is there, factual information which we have gathered and accumulated over a period of time, तो वो हम लोगों को बार बार we go through that information, and because you read about it, you talk about it, so that information remains stable. Factual information, more or less, it remains stable. But what improves is the procedural memory which remains strong. Okay, so generally how to cook or how to maybe make tea is something that you are not going to forget because you have done it thousands of times. Okay, so whatever you have learned over a period of time, wherever you have put a lot of effort into learning things, so that generally remains not only stable, but that also becomes strong. So procedural memory जो है वो generally हम लोग generally भूलते नहीं है, that becomes strong. But उसके लिए भी we need to go into बार बार वो चीजें अगर करेंगे, repetition is very important. Okay, so because generally with cooking, because maybe if we do it every day, that is something that we will not forget easily. Okay, so following types of memory loss which are normal among older adults. What is normal? Okay, so occasionally forgetting where you left things such as glasses or keys. Okay, so occasionally. Okay, अगर मैं हफ्ते में 4-5 बार भूल रही हूँ, so then there might be a cause for concern, but occasionally I do not remember where I have kept my glasses or keys. Okay, forgetting names of acquaintances, and or blocking one's memory with a similar one, such as calling grandson by son's name. Okay, so you might call your grandson by your son's name. Okay, so forgetting names is quite common, and it is quite normal in old age. Okay, so occasionally forgetting an appointment or walking into a room and forgetting why you have entered. So that is also normal in old age. Okay, and becoming easily distracted or having trouble remembering what you just read or details of a conversation. Okay, तो अगर आवाज होगा बहुत ज्यादा और there is a lot of visual clutter which is there in front of you, बहुत सारा कचरा है, तो भी वो सोचने को या फिर वो सामने वाली व्यक्ति क्या बोल रही है वो भी grasp करने को it takes time. We can get easily distracted if there is a lot of noise which is there around us, or maybe if the person in front of me is speaking very fast. Okay, तो ये जो है these things, occasionally forgetting something is quite normal. But क्या होता है, occasionally if you forget, if you are able to remember that information in the next 2-3 days, then that is fine. That is something that should happen. That you might forget something, forget the name of a movie, but maybe 2 दिन के बाद आप constantly try कर रहे हैं to remember the name of that movie, and in 1 or 2 days you are able to get that information. Okay, तो ये last time भी हम लोगों ने we had done this session, although very much in short, के what is normal when it comes to memory and thinking. And we had done 21 signs, although we were not able to complete all the 21 signs which are related to memory and thinking, which are not normal in aging. Okay, तो ये जो है कि when it comes to a particular incident, or say suppose a movie, you might not remember the name of the hero or the heroine, or where you have seen it. But what happens in diseases like Alzheimer's is कि the fact that I have seen the movie, that itself goes out of my mind. That itself is something that I forget. Okay, तो ये अगर मैं समझो what is normal is कि अगर समझो मुझे हीरो का नाम, वो पिक्चर के हीरो का नाम नहीं याद आ रहा है, बट मैं थोड़ा कोशिश करने के बाद, समझो 1 दिन के बाद, 2 दिन के बाद वो नाम मुझे याद आया. What happens is we get frustrated in that 1 or 2 days and we feel scared. We don't try to actually make efforts to remember what we want to. We get frustrated, we get scared, और उसमें और भी ज़्यादा हम लोगों को वो याद आने में it takes time. Okay, so occasionally forgetting something. दूसरा ये है कि if you have forgotten something, then maybe if you are able to remember it after some time, then it is absolutely normal. But we have to allow ourselves that space, okay, to remember and not get too scared or fearful कि मुझे ये हो गया है क्या, वो हो गया है क्या. फिर then that fear multiplies, and then whatever also needs to be remembered, we forget that also. Okay, so attention. So what is attention? Ability to concentrate on something. So what happens in old age? Are we able to concentrate or are we not able to concentrate? So एक सबसे पहला है selective attention. Okay, तो ये selective attention. Okay, so selective attention यानी क्या कि to ability to focus on something amidst a lot of distracting stimuli. मतलब मैं आपको एग्जाम्पल देती हूँ कि समझो आप एक वेबसाइट देख रहे हैं, उसमें अगर इंडियन रेलवेज की अगर वेबसाइट है एंड देयर यू आर ट्राइंग टू बुक ticket from say Mumbai to New Delhi. And usme there are a lot of other trains which are there, lot of advertisements which are there. So you are focusing on something which is selective, something related to what you want to do, what your goal is, that you want to go to Delhi and you want to book tickets for Delhi. So that is selective, trying to get information, what the specific information which you require. दूसरा है डिवाइडेड अटेंशन. डिवाइडेड अटेंशन यानी द एबिलिटी टू डू मल्टीपल टास्क्स एट द सेम टाइम, यानी जिसको हम लोग इन अदर वर्ड्स मल्टीटास्किंग. तीसरा है सस्टेन्ड अटेंशन, द एबिलिटी टू पे अटेंशन टू समथिंग फॉर अ प्रोलॉन्ग्ड पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. वो हो सकता है या नहीं हो सकता है, दैट इज समथिंग दैट वी हैव टू लुक इनटू. So, सबसे पहला ये है कि easily distracted by noise and visual clutter, as we were saying. तो noise अगर होगा, बहुत सारा आसपास सामान होगा, then also it will be difficult for me to concentrate on something. Not very good at multitasking. Okay, दो तीन चीजें साथ में करने के लिए टाइम लगता है, तो ये this is something that we should not get into or we should not attempt also, and this is something that gets affected in old age. Okay, with seniors, older adults, they are not very good at multitasking. Okay, तो वो हिसाब से थोड़ा सा कैपेसिटी स्लो हो जाता है. तो स्लो हो जाता है ना, कर इसका मतलब कर नहीं सकते हैं, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है. Third is sustained attention does not decline with age. Your ability to pay attention for a prolonged period of time on something does not decline with age. Okay, there is this example of Rajkumar Vaishya, okay, जिन्होंने at the age of 98, जिन्होंने masters in economics किया somewhere in Bihar, और an article had come, तो उन्होंने he did his masters in economics at the age of 98, and उनका लिम्का बुक ऑफ मतलब रिकॉर्ड्स में भी नाम आया था. एक तो उन्होंने 98 में ये किया, and दूसरा he took 13 supplements for writing one of his papers, which was also a record. Okay, so and you know that was a very long exam. He had to sit there for 3 hours. Okay, so sustained attention, कोई भी चीज में अगर मुझे इंटरेस्ट हो तो I can continue to learn it well. Okay, so sustained attention is not affected. थोड़ा भी हम लोगों को नहीं आता है, हम लोग फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाते हैं, हम लोग बोलते हैं कि नहीं ये तो मेरे को नहीं जमता है. तो वैसा ना करके हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे तो we are able to pay attention on a particular topic which is of interest to me. Okay, that is something that I have to understand. दूसरा है language skills. Okay, so language skills, variety of abilities, understanding and producing both verbal and written language. So इसमें क्या होता है, because we have communicated all our life. Okay, so vocabulary generally remains stable and improves with age. Okay, so you can use different words to express whatever you want to say. Okay, so vocabulary remains stable and it also improves with age. But more time may be needed to find a specific word. And that is where we get frustrated. That is where we fear कि कुछ हो गया है. Okay, so more time may be needed. Okay, तो इसके लिए बहुत सारे लोग मतलब associations भी करते हैं. कोई अगर आपको दिखता है, acquaintance दिखता है, नाम आपको याद नहीं रहते हैं, word आपको याद नहीं रहता है, तो एक नाम के साथ आप समझो कुछ उसके साथ वो अगर समझो उसके साथ वो आदमी की पर्सनैलिटी अगर जोड़ देते हैं, Okay, so maybe Harish is, say, suppose his personality is very dynamic. Okay, तो ये अगर आप ध्यान में रखते हैं and help yourself to remember those things. And if it is really important information, it always helps to write. So it gets registered more properly in your brain. Okay, so although more time may be required, but if you write down or the other, this is, we have done a lot of brain gym exercises. और उसमें हम लोग, with our hands, we write in the air, and certain things which you want to remember, if you write them with your hand in the air, certain important points, the chances of you remembering that particular thing definitely grow a lot. तो अपनी मेमोरी को भी एड करने के लिए कुछ कोशिश करनी पड़ती है, रिपीटिशन करना पड़ता है. पहले जैसा ही आप एक्सपेक्ट करेंगे कि मुझे सब कुछ मैं याद कर सकूंगी, ऐसा नहीं होगा. ओके, तो हमारी मेमोरी को ऐड करने के लिए आप लिस्ट बनाइए, आप लिख के रखिए वो वर्ड जो है या फिर कोई स्पेसिफिक वर्ड है या नाम है, उसके साथ कुछ एसोसिएशन कीजिए. ओके, तो वो याद रखने में it will be easier for us. May struggle with fast speech if someone is speaking, very quickly. So then also it is difficult to understand what the other person is saying. Abhi emotional regulation. Okay, so the capacity to regulate emotions. Okay, so what they are saying is that when it comes to thinking about negative things, whatever negative incidents which have happened in my life, so if I am thinking about that for a long period of time, to get out of that mood becomes very, very difficult, and it takes time. Okay, so it takes time to move out of a negative state and less likely to be depressed. I am going to, show you something now where they have done a lot of research in different countries that how you can become more positive in your old age. तो ये जो है, अगर आप देखेंगे, you might not be able to see it very clearly. They call it the happiness U curve. इसमें क्या उन्होंने कहा है कि ये adolescence में generally this happiness is prevalent. In middle age it dips यानी कम हो जाता है because there are a lot of responsibilities भी होते हैं. That is why they call them the sandwich generation also. Sandwiched between older parents and maybe your children. तो ये जो है उसके बाद old age में this happiness is again, this curve, this happiness quotient is again moving up. And why does it move up? For that also we have to make certain efforts. It's not going to happen automatically. Okay, so here also they are saying that life satisfaction drops during midlife and begins its recovery around age 50, reaching its peak at the end of life. Why? Because the focus turns away from social competition towards social connection. We understand what is important in my life. We understand which connections, which social networks, which kind of people we are more close to, who is actually likely to help us maybe at a difficult period of time. Okay, so as the end of life nears, priorities shift towards savoring life, love, and this present movement is more precious than whatever has happened earlier. Okay, so that is why this happiness U curve which is there, कि अगर मुझे I have reflected on my life, जिसको हम लोग इकेगाई बोलते हैं, if I have found my purpose in life, तो generally ये happiness U curve apply होता है जहाँ पे I am much more happy than in my earlier life because I know what is important to me. And I also understand the kind of personality that I am, and also I am more comfortable in my own skin. Okay, so ये जो है ना veneration of youth, ये जो बोलते हैं ना youth, हम लोगों को सबको young होना है, young होना है, young होना है. तो ये happiness U curve is totally dispelling that myth and saying that ये adolescence में ही सिर्फ ये happiness curve नहीं है, ये वृद्धत्व में भी happiness हो सकता है if we have really found our purpose and if we know what to do with our lives. So it's overblown. Okay, so intelligence is यहाँ पे काफी अच्छा definition है. It is mental alertness and ability to learn new material, make wise decisions, and deal with stressful situations. Okay, so there is something called crystallized intelligence. There is something called fluid intelligence. So crystallized intelligence is what? Whatever knowledge, abilities, skills that you have gained over a period of time, that generally remains, grows stronger. But fluid intelligence यानी क्या? जो नई information आती है, problem solving, which is related to new information which is not familiar to me. तो उसके लिए टाइम लगता है. दैट इज फ्लूइड इंटेलिजेंस. तो क्रिस्टलाइज्ड इंटेलिजेंस जो आपने सीखा है, बार बार आपने उसको प्रैक्टिस किया है, दैट जनरली नॉलेज, स्किल्स एंड एबिलिटीज, दे रिमेन. Okay, and they improve also. Intelligence does not become less with age. Decision making skills will improve with age because you know what is important for me. Okay, what I am comfortable with. Okay, so there is something called okay, so associated activities which are associated with high cognitive function. यानी मेंटली अगर आपको खुद को एक्टिव रखना है तो इंटेलेक्चुअली एंगेजिंग एक्टिविटीज होने चाहिए. जैसे तारे सोशल में आप लोग करते हैं, अलग अलग गेम्स हैं, एक्टिविटीज हैं. थ्रू प्ले यू आर डूइंग डिफरेंट एक्टिविटीज. सो पजल्स, डिस्कशन ग्रुप्स. ओके, सो योर थिंकिंग विल इम्प्रूव, जनरल थिंकिंग पावर विल इम्प्रूव. ओके, तो ये हाई कॉग्निटिव फंक्शंस के साथ करियर्स दैट इन्वॉल्व हाई कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी, यानी बीइंग अ डॉक्टर, लॉयर, जहाँ पे कॉम्प्लेक्स, यू हैव टू डील विद कॉम्प्लेक्स मैटर्स. तो दैट दोज with I mean high cognitive function is also associated with those careers. अगर समझो ज्यादा पढ़े होंगे तो भी कॉग्निटिव फंक्शन आपका हाई हो सकता है. ओके, फिजिकल एक्टिविटीज करेंगे, इससे भी आपका माइंड ज्यादा एक्टिव रह सकता है. एक्सरसाइज है, गार्डनिंग है, डांसिंग है, सोशल एंगेजमेंट है, ट्रैवल है, वेर यू एक्सप्लोर अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, यू मीट डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ पीपल और एक्सपोज टू डिफरेंट कल्चर्स, डिफरेंट फूड्स. तो ये जो है सोशल एंगेजमेंट अगर होगा तो भी इट इज एसोसिएटेड विथ हाई कॉग्निटिव फंक्शन. Now in gerontology there is something called cognitive reserve. Okay, so what we are saying is कि अगर समझो brain में deterioration takes place, so there are some people who are better able to cope or they develop better resilience to the effects of aging as they have developed a better capacity or reserve to cope with those changes. Yani if you do all these activities, high cognitive function activities like intellectually engaging activities, reading, bridge, playing, conversing, learning something new, all this is going to contribute to the cognitive reserve which is there. Okay, so nothing goes waste. Okay, this will get stored in your cognitive reserve. Okay, and that is why we must continue to engage in intellectually challenging activities and learn something new, which lead to high cognitive reserve. Okay, so that's what they are saying. Higher levels of education, engaging occupation, participation in stimulating activities, learning, social interactions contribute to the reserve. Okay. न्यूरोप्लास्टिसिटी यानी क्या है कि हमारा ब्रेन जो है दैट इज प्लास्टिक, नॉट मेड ऑफ प्लास्टिक, बट द ब्रेन हैज द कैपेसिटी टू लर्न न्यू थिंग्स. ओके, सो दीज नर्व्स, द नर्व सेल्स विच आर देयर, first of all, new cells can be created in your brain, that is one thing. और अगर आप कुछ नया learn करते हैं तो हमारे cells में बहुत सारे connections होते हैं, तो वो connections को भी strong बनाने में मदद होती है. ओके अगर आप अल्जाइमर्स में अगर आप देखेंगे तो जो brain है that generally shrinks. Why does it shrink? Because the brain cells tend to die, and that is why it grows smaller. The brain grows smaller. Ability to adapt is definitely there in old age, provided we are willing to learn new things and provided we are open to new things. Self fulfilling prophecy यानी क्या कि अगर मैं constantly कहती हूँ कि my health is going to deteriorate in old age, if I have a negative attitude towards old age, okay, तो वो अगर होगा तो if I am thinking that way, then the brain also gets that message, and this prophecy that I am going to have bad health in old age is going to come true. Okay, so I am fulfilling my own prophecy of saying that I will not do well in old age. Okay, तो ये generally that is why your attitude in aging is extremely important. और generally research में ऐसे कहा है कि people who have a positive attitude towards aging generally live for 7.5 years more than people who have a negative attitude towards aging. और उनका if there are any ailments or diseases, their capacity or their ability to deal with that disease also reduces अगर आपका negative attitude होगा तो. और last जो ये है memory avoidance यानी क्या कि अगर समझो memory avoidance यानी क्या कि मैं I constantly tell myself, okay, I am forgetting. Okay, so even if there are certain things which I know well, which I remember well, because I am constantly giving myself that message wherever I am wanting to utilize that information, I will avoid using my memory because I am constantly telling myself that I am forgetting things. मैं एक छोटा सा example जो experiment हुआ था, I will tell you that. So there were two groups. Okay, तो उनको mathematical मतलब calculations करने के लिए दिए थे. One was a young group and